This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. And let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. There's nothing but blue skies coming your way. I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather.
Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread.
This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather.
Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, January 4th. Happy New Year, and welcome to another episode of You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. I am Bill Smith, and I am joined, as always, by the man, the myth, the legend, Feo Grande himself, Omari Ellis. Omari, how was your sports week, baby?
You know, my sports week was good. It started with a music anecdote, which I'll touch on in the NFL topic, but you know, it's going fine. Lots of stuff to talk about, at least with two of the main sports.
Lots of stuff to talk about, and we'll cover three topics here on You Don't Watch Sports as we sprinkle a little bit of sports information into your conversation as we are your guiding light through the sea that is sports talk.
Yeah.
Topic number one, Omari, let's hit it with some NFL. We're getting a playoff picture wrapped up.
Yes, sir. NFL. Getting the playoff picture wrapped up. We'll go ahead and touch with that. So, playoff spots pretty much are determined on both sides. Couple teams in the hunt. We'll talk about it. First off, the NFC. Almost all but determined. The first seed, you have the Lions. We also had the Lions, the Eagles, the Rams, Vikings, Commanders, and Packers. That's 6 teams, however. The only thing left to be decided is who our 4th seed is, and that's our winner of the NFC South. It is going to be either the Buccaneers, who are sitting there right now at 9-7 and have an easy game on the docket tomorrow against the Saints, but right behind them, trying to get that division title, if they manage to lose to them and this other team wins, the Falcons, 8-8, also have an even easier game on the docket tomorrow against the Panthers. So Buccaneers need to win that game against the Saints to have a chance to stay in the playoffs, but they can be upset. And either way, whoever ends up being that 4th seed will have a worse record than seeds 5 through 7 because NFL, baby, win your division. That's all you got to do. Meanwhile, AFC more or less seems locked up as well, but we don't have 7 spots locked up. We had the top 6 seeds pretty much determined. That's your Chiefs, your Bills, your Ravens, your Texans, surprisingly to some people, but then again, they won their division, so I guess that makes sense. They're kind of like the Falcons / whatever we were talking about, 4th seed in the NFC. But we have the Steelers in at the 5th seed and the Chargers in the 6th. In the hunt, though, we have the Broncos currently sitting at the 7th, but they could end up losing because on the bubble we still have the Dolphins and the Bengals. Joe Burrow holding on so hard as he can because he's had like almost a 5,000-yard season, and he still may miss the playoffs as currently the 9th seed. But they need everything to go their way. They need the Broncos to lose and the Dolphins to lose to make it. The Dolphins need the Broncos to lose and have some other things fall their way. But it's all but settled. We almost have our entire playoff picture. Still going into the 18th week, though, the last week of the regular season. We got some games that matter, which is always good to see.
Declare it now. Who do you think are taking those final spots? What do you think the picture will be?
I'm gonna say Bucks and I'm gonna say Bucks and Dolphins because the Broncos have to play the Chiefs, and unless the Chiefs sit everybody, the 15-1 Chiefs with their, solid play football, mistake-free, very disciplined football, they're going to go ahead and show, like they usually do in the games that matter, that they're better than the other team. And the Bengals have to play Pittsburgh, who is a very strong team, while the Dolphins have to play the Jets. And we all know what I think about how the New York Jets play. When you're a Jet all the way. Or are you? Sam Darnold proving me wrong. Going in there in the NFL, 14 wins and 4,000 plus passing yards this season. There have only been a few other people to do it. You might have heard of them. Patrick Mahomes, who I just mentioned on those Chiefs. He did it twice in 2020 and 2022. I'm sure at least one of those was a Super Bowl year for him. 2011, Aaron Rodgers, another Jet. He did it. Peyton Manning, might have heard of him. Number 12, Tom Brady, you might have heard of that asshole. I'm kidding, he's not an asshole. Maybe he is. I don't know. I don't like the guy. Kurt Warner also did it. And in 84, Dan Marino did it as well. When he didn't have 18 games. Granted, Sam Darnold's already at this point, and we're like 17 games in, but you get my point. Or 16 games in. True. But still, so that's that. Also, sad news for Saquon Barkley, he is not breaking the record this year. The Eagles have decided to sit him on Sunday. And it makes you ask a question. What the duck? Anyway, I say that because I mentioned the anecdote. So, quick side note. I got a shirt from my mom randomly that said "What the duck," right? Last week, immediately that Sunday, Panthers have a random fucking duck appear on the field as like the opposite of a rally squirrel. Rally squirrel, good omen, leads to championships. Random duck leads to a fucking strip sack for a touchdown while you're already down like 30 points. But I literally just got a tweet that someone who didn't know I had just gotten this shirt. The tweet said, "What the duck?" And I'm like, I literally just got a shirt that said, "What the duck?" And then this happens to my team. That's a funny anecdote that I wanted to talk about. That's just coincidence. But that's the NFL.
All right, let's jump on to the NBA, Omari. We got a few news and notes just traveling around the league here for a moment. First of all, the other night, LeBron sets an NBA record for 30-point games in a career with 563, topping Jordan at 562, who finished that in 2003. Now, Jordan set the record with 1,072 games over 15 seasons. James set the record with 1,523 games over 22 seasons. So a frequent argument in the a frequent feather in the cap of the argument of LeBron versus Jordan of LeBron is just taking longer to accumulate all of the stats that he has compared to what Jordan did. But you still I mean, either way you slice it, it's still
So,
an insane feat. So
it took him longer to get the 30 games. It didn't take him more games to surpass Jordan in points. Just the 30-point games. Like,
Correct.
that's the crazy thing about it, and that's the only reason this argument even can exist is because it's like, well, he still got to the thing. You talk about the longevity, but a lot of his arguments, he got at early points in his career. And it's like, well, but at the end of the day, he's not a scorer. He's just a very, very good player. Like, he's very good. I'm not saying he's not, but Michael's go 6-0. He's not 0-6 or even 4-6 because anybody can get a 30-point game. Look at Steph Curry, who got 30 points as he became the first player to get 8 for 8 and 10 assists or more in the same game, which is a career best for him just the other night. The other guy that people say, yeah, how you the GOAT, and you can't even say it's technically your era because 3 of your 6 losses have been to this one guy over here. Steph Curry, who's still just like, I got the same amount of champions as you do with only 1 loss to you. And I beat you 3 times.
right.
So, the GOAT debate for what you will. I'm just giving the devil's advocate.
Well, we've literally had this debate on the show, and my side of the coin is still valid. It depends on what you call the GOAT debate. For me, in my opinion, the greatest basketball player of all time is LeBron James because he can literally be the greatest player of all time at any position on the team.
That's a
Any
very
position on the team, center, power forward, scoring, point guard. Do you need him to be the play setter and assist maker? Do you need him to block and get rebounds? Do you need him to post up at 3 and shoot? He can do all of those, and he could be the best in the league at any of them at his peak. So that's why I call
I'm gonna
LeBron
go
James.
ahead and I agree with your take on that. But if you're also looking at greatness as success and doing what you come here to do, which is win the championship, when you
He's also got a ton of those. Thank you.
But
You're right.
He's got less of them than the other guy, and he's got more losses than the other guy. He does not play this disciplined, hardcore, mistake-free basketball when the chips are on the line.
or exploit a old loophole in the NBA that we may need to correct because it's somewhat ruining the game in the 3-point line. Maybe we don't add that to the Steph Curry conversation. I don't know.
And it is different eras.
We are
I will say
actively
that.
right now talking about how the 3-point has ruined the game of basketball, and that's the man's entire game.
It's his fault.
It's literally his fault.
He showed everybody it's possible.
But nobody's gonna say Steph Curry is ruining the.
No,
ruining
because we
basketball.
like watching Steph Curry. Because here's the deal. He makes his threes. The teams now, if you would have seen that Celtics versus, I forget who it was the other night, where it was like 6 possessions of brick a 3, other team rebounds, runs down the court to brick a 3, rebound, runs down to brick a 3. None of them made, like 5 straight missed threes. Nobody trying. Anybody the one person that charged down the lane only did it to kick it back out so they could whiff another 3. That's what people don't like. Steph Curry, he'll chuck it up from 85 feet and make it.
Speaking of Steph Curry 3-pointers and making them.
I mentioned it.
Oh, you did mention it. That's right. Yeah, I didn't know if you had fully said that stat. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our next bullet point. The Thunder up in the Knicks, Omari, to extend their streak to 14 games in a row. They are obviously on top of the West with with 29 wins and 5 losses and an .853 winning percentage. Only bested by the top team in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers, still at the top of the East with 30 wins and 4 losses at an .882 winning percentage.
The Cleveland
Omari,
Cavaliers.
last time we checked in on this, we were both kind of stunned at the Cleveland Cavaliers' success.
And I
It's
still am. It's still going, and I'm still stunned. I'm happy for them though, because this helps them. When you have ESPN 30 for 30s made about your city not winning championships, it's that's a lot of misfortune for a sports town. So I'm happy that they're able to do this and it not be associated with LeBron, the guy who left them twice for greener pastures. That said, hey, if they can keep it going, cool. But I know the Bucks gotta be catching up with them though, because they turned it around. Because I made a joke about what the Duck earlier, but what the Bucks was another joke I made earlier this season, and they turned it around since pretty much we had that topic. So I think it's going well for the Cavaliers. Hopefully they can stay on top, but you gotta watch out for Giannis and Dame and the boys up there in Milwaukee. But yeah, Thunder, SAG, or SGA, my bad. Gildress Alexander, that guy, going crazy. Hey, if there's a new team at the top of the West, I'm here to see it. Oklahoma City's had a strong fan base too, and their own personal LeBron for Oklahoma City left them for greener pastures. So now we got a hometown, well, not hometown, but you know what I mean, a grown up at this our player type for Oklahoma City. So yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to those two teams on the top of the East and the West division. And then finally, we want to talk about one of our favorite players in personality wise that we always like hearing about and seeing on media days. Made a lot of attention during the NBA bubble, and that was Jimmy Butler.
Make some good coffee too.
Jimmy Butler has been the best player for the Miami Heat for better than 5 years now. Leader of the team. Talks highly of the franchise and the city, but at the same time also had several stretches where he missed games, seemed unhappy with the team's success and position and motivation. And then after this summer, he did not receive the extension that he was eligible for in the contract that he's currently under. And things have devolved since then to the point where just this week, the Miami Heat have suspended Jimmy Butler for 7 games as they announced that they are open to trade offers after he formally announced to reporters that he no longer can find on-court joy in a Miami Heat uniform. Omari, where do you think this goes? It doesn't seem like Jimmy Butler is going to be wearing a Miami Heat jersey again. Do you see him going anywhere effective? Currently, the Miami Heat are the 6th seed in the Eastern playoffs. If the season ended today, they would be in the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't see him going to a contender because one thing we know about Heat in general is they're one of those teams that have a trademarked culture to them. Heat culture. You go to Heat, you a different player than you is anywhere else. This is Heat way that we do things. And that all starts at the top with a Mr. Pat Riley, who is pretty freaking petty when he wants to be. And unlike LeBron, when he said, I'm done and I want to go back home to win a championship, Jimmy hadn't won a championship for them yet. And he did this in this fashion where he, demands a trade in public. So I can see him making a difference to the team he goes to, but I don't see him going to a team that's going to make a difference playoff-wise. Unless he just turns on some gear we haven't seen before and he's just like, no, this is my revenge tour. You want to trade me to the whatever the worst team in the NBA is right now, the Hornets or something, I'll show you. But yeah, I assume he's gonna be punished with this trade and sent down to some desperate team that's just desperate for a star. But Yeah, and then next season he gets to go wherever he needs to go and go on his revenge tour.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to follow this and see if there's the chance that he does get traded to a contender and has his proven moment, or if it's sending rotten fruit into your basket to spoil.
Mhm.
Um,
Then
we'll,
again,
we'll-
the Spurs were just trying to get rid of Kawhi and trade him to Toronto as a punishment, and he won a championship in Toronto.
yeah,
So
that's the scenario that I'm kind of thinking.
yeah,
Could be possible here. Let's move on to topic number 3, Omari. We have the WWE in kind of a metaphorical a new season
Mhm.
of their year here,
New Year,
with
new we.
starting with the first SmackDown of the new year, going to 3 hours on the USA Network, ending with a really cool match between the New Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga against Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso, where Solo came up on top on over Jey Uso. Really cool match, but the highlight of the night was the Money in the Bank cash in from Miss Tiffany Stratton, who is your new women's WWE champion. Very cool moment on TV. Surprise right in the middle of the show, right after Nia Jax defeats Naomi, and we get a really cool cash in from Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton.
And it was
It's
very
officially
well played
Tiffany
out
time.
too.
Tiffy time.
Yeah, it's officially Tiffy time. Those fantasy points for you about to start skyrocketing. That
Tune
was
in
an
into our
investment.
mock draft. Yeah, we'll
It's
see
a good
about that.
investment. Anyway, yeah. But like you mentioned, it's the beginning of a new time for them. I am happy for Tiffany Stratton and her doing that. Like you said, it was very well executed with the way they weaved it into the match and stuff. Had the fake out and then the real one. Very good way. Very well timed with the 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock hour. Just
Oh,
on
yeah.
that, when you would switch over, when you would normally be trying to watch whatever show was after SmackDown. Wait, it's still going? And it's something this exciting? Ooh. So, very smart. Very smart up there for them. But yes, start other new stuff for them. Raw on Netflix, which I believe you mentioned, coming up soon.
Raw on Netflix is going to be happening this Monday, the first time ever that Raw will be on Netflix live across the globe, available to all Netflix subscribers. Be very interesting to see. The word on the street is they are treating this like a WrestleMania type event.
Oh yeah, you gotta for the first one.
You have no idea how many new eyeballs are potentially on this moment. So they have a ton of big matches announced, and we probably have some, I wouldn't be shocked, to come, in addition to a lot of different stuff. May not be matches, but there's gonna be stuff happening on this show. Let's start with a couple of the matches. Omari, we are getting tribal combat finally, definitively, for the Ula Fala. Paul Heyman came out on SmackDown last night and looked straight down the barrel of the camera
Oh,
and
God.
said, "This will be the definitive answer of who is the tribal chief. After this match, we will no longer have two tribal chiefs. This will end here," is what was the entire push of his promo. Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. What are you thinking?
Paul Heyman and his wayward words. I'm going to ignore like any random internet rumor dirt sheet stuff about who could also be qualifying for via shenanigans that isn't mentioned in this title match. I'm just going to say between these two, I think Roman wins this match. I think Roman wins this match. because he's Roman Reigns, and character-wise, that's just how it's built. And Solo is a great tribal chief in and of himself with the bloodline. He still does the bloodline stuff where they got the numbers game. Let's win with that. And he's got Jacob Fatu on his side. However, Roman's got his OG bloodline. Drew's in the business killing of them at the moment, but he has them. and if there are no interferences by bloodline people, because I don't know exactly what tribal combat dictates, just like I didn't know what bloodline rules dictated. But if it's just 1v1, I gotta put my money on Roman. He's the big dog.
I completely agree with you, except I completely think it is 100% not going to be a 1v1.
Okay.
I think this is a high likelihood scenario of Drew McIntyre coming out and helping Solo Sikoa. I think there is a certain movie star who might want to come back and
who I was
fuck with
kind
this
of
match.
alluded to when
Right.
I was like extras, like some stuff.
I think there's a lot of, I mean, beyond just current active bloodline members getting involved, just all the things you said. I think that is what will be happening, and I think that means that Solo Sikoa will win this match and will potentially go back to SmackDown as the tribal chief.
Okay.
And we have Roman on Raw trying to figure it out.
Interesting.
I think that's what might happen here. Let's go to a similar bloodline thing that's probably going to be very related. Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Everyone who's watching should know that I love me some Jey Uso. I also like Drew McIntyre. But you're not supposed to be a fan of Drew McIntyre when you're buying into the product. When you're buying into the wrestling, you can support, you could be a fan of Drew McIntyre, but you're not. He's a bad guy, and I am a fan. I'm emotionally invested in Jey Uso.
Yeah.
I think Drew McIntyre should squash Jey Uso here.
Yeah. Jey Uso's having the time of his life, but he's out of time. So say goodbye, Jey Uso. Big Drew McIntyre guy here. I like Jey Uso too, though. The what he's been able to do with it being just him Uso day one ish. That shit. He's great. I like Jey, but speaking of day one ish, I've been a Drew McIntyre fan since day one, and I like it with Drew McIntyre. And he's on his angry shit right now, and he's on a mission. And yeah, I got Drew.
Let's go to Omari. It has been announced that Raw on Netflix will be stop number 1 on the John Cena retirement tour. I want you to tell me what you think that means, and just in a couple of bullet points, what do you think the John Cena year is going to be?
I think the John Cena year is going to be him, because I think he stated in character or whatever that he wants to seriously pursue stuff while he's here for this year. It's not just a goodbye tour or whatever. So I do think he'll be in some like title contender matches, but not get it, because John Cena has shown he's not unwilling to put the youth over. He's been showing a lot of that recently. So yeah. I think he's going to probably come out and in a Kurt Angle-esque where Kurt Angle goes to the ring and he's like, I don't give a who's in the back, I'm the best, and I'm going to tell you this, and some young dude just comes out, I've got ruthless aggression, and I'm here to make a statement. I feel like someone's going to try to do that to John, and that'll be his first little thing leading up to the Rumble, but he's probably declaring himself for the Rumble. I'm going to say that. And then someone's going to come out and be like, You were old. You can't see me. Or Bronson Reed comes out and squashes him to be like, "Oh, mate," and it's like, well, damn. One or the other, but I think it's he's coming out. I'm serious. John Cena says nobody can hold a candle to me. I'm prepared for the Royal Rumble. Anybody want some? Come get some. Type shit. But
Yeah,
he's
no,
gonna be
that sounds
putting
right.
people over throughout the year.
That sounds right. That sounds right. I like that. I like that. Yeah, I agree. I wasn't thinking about what he could be doing on Monday. I was like, what is it going to be, a match? That sounds exactly right. He's going to come out, declare for the Rumble, get interrupted by somebody, and have maybe a quick scuffle, or he announces the Rumble and it's not a jobber. It's whoever's going to be his first main feud of the calendar year comes out and calls him on his BS. Gunther is currently not scheduled for this Raw. Probably should be. Maybe a Logan Paul.
He's scheduled, ain't he?
Yeah, he's scheduled. He's announced that he's a Raw roster member now.
Okay.
He's not scheduled to appear on the show necessarily, but they
But
announced
that
him
could
as a
very
new,
well be the guy that comes out to talk shit.
yeah.
and get
Which
hit.
I mean, I would love to see John Cena rip, like, well, not only but like in promo,
like verbally as well.
yeah, like say what you want about John Cena, but nobody
Fantastic,
can make
Mike.
him. Very few others can make the other person very obviously look flustered IRL because of what he decides to say. He's done it to The Rock. He's done it to Roman Reigns. He
hits
can-
hard too with those random like cuts. When he wants to hit you with that deep cut that you can't say nothing about,
Yeah.
he'll get you.
I wonder if Logan Paul would have anything in his back catalog that John Cena could pull on. Yeah, not to promote Logan Paul at all, but I would love to see John Cena verbally rip his asshole apart. Let's move on to the two big matches of the night, Omari. You got a last woman standing match for the World Women's Championship. Liv Morgan, your champion, versus Rhea Ripley. We've been here before. A lot of people say we've been here for way too long.
Hit me, I'm people. That said,
Rhea's got to take this, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping just because it's to be a definitive end to it, Rhea takes it and ends it. Because
I feel like
character-wise, Rhea's not the kind of person to sit on the shelf if she loses this.
because of the bad way this has gone down so far. The generally negatively received way, whether that's some of that was out of their control or whether they messed up.
I think injuries made it last longer than it was supposed to.
Right, but then they still dropped the ball in several places. Let's be clear. I feel like there are two ways that this could be successful. Rhea wins and is your champion, and you reset back to we have Rhea, this incredible dominant women's wrestler, and you go back to start having great matches with Rhea Ripley and correct this whole Liv Morgan feud. Or they go out there and have one of the greatest women's hardcore matches of all time that Liv Morgan definitively wins. And then it kind of excuses all of it.
Yeah, I can see that too. My only
But
fear
I don't
is,
think that would happen.
My only fear is
That's a
as
very hard
character-
thing to ask.
Yeah, my only fear is as a character, Rhea, as vengeful as she is, wouldn't let the feud end with the loss. Like character-wise, like I want this to all end.
Right, but then also brand splitting is going to occur after this show. Just like
Oh,
I
so they
discussed
can
with the
then move
tribal
her to
combat.
another show and let
I think Rhea
Liv.
would stay on Raw, and we might send Tiffany over to Raw, and Liv would maybe go to SmackDown.
Okay.
But you might send Rhea to SmackDown because you still want some star power over at SmackDown. Not
Yeah.
everybody, not all the stars can be exclusively on Raw. So maybe you send Rhea to SmackDown. Um, but yeah, I feel like that's the only way that this would be received well with Liv Morgan coming out on top is if it's just an absolutely incredible match
I think
where
so.
Liv definitively proves that she can hang,
I'll agree with that.
kind of thing.
Yeah, especially if the brand split guarantees that this ends, then yeah,
Yeah,
I'm fine with that
because
Liv.
that would be the other part of it. Like Rhea would have to be knocked down a peg.
Yeah.
Like Liv beat her kind
Yeah.
of thing. So yeah, we'll and then then that could create a Rio potential Royal Rumble winner, road to
Redemption tour.
WrestleMania redemption scenario
Yeah.
if they wanted to play that. Uh, all right, now the main event of the night, Omari, that WWE is promoting as one of the most anticipated matches of all time. I think they're overblowing it a little bit,
Only a
but
little.
it's still a big match. CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins to end the night. What do you think's going to happen here? Are we even going to get a definitive winner?
You know, with you asking me that, probably not. But I'm gonna. Otherwise, I'd say CM Punk wins because it's a Monday Night Raw, and you know, new time, new year, new WWE. Send the crowd home happy. Give them their CM Punk victory. Cause yeah, I see CM Punk doing
The
this.
CM Punk is a draw. We've
Yeah,
talked about it on other shows. Like it's like hate the man all you want. He fucking draws on social media videos, on ticket sales, on merchandise.
yeah,
He makes money for his employers.
exactly.
Um,
People love
uh,
him.
he could be the face of Raw
Yeah,
if they wanted to declare that Monday night.
very well. And I could see them doing that because it'll get people tuning into the Netflix thing. Oh, CM Punk's on Netflix? Oh, Mr. Pipe Bomb on the unfiltered thing? Because everyone's just assuming that Netflix is going to be rated R despite WWE constantly saying it won't be.
Right.
So they're like, oh, Mr. Pipe Bomb on the unfiltered show? Yeah, I'm watching.
And him and Seth are probably going to have a very raw, no pun intended, uh,
Yeah.
visceral fight.
As far as public image goes, over the years, these two don't like each other. Even
Yeah.
when they weren't in the same company, these two didn't like each other. I'm putting it in quotes because it's wrestling.
Openly name dropped the other in shoot interviews
Yeah.
about how they disliked the other person.
Yeah. So that's why it's the most anticipated match because these two legit hate each other. But it should be
Well,
great.
and then even the history before that, where Seth Rollins was a CM Punk fan. Seth Rollins did go to CM Punk and ask him to be his trainer back in indie days. When CM Punk was a mainstay on the main roster, he did suggest to people in creative control that
Yeah.
that three guys from NXT should be brought up to be his little faction mates.
One of which was Seth.
Yeah. So there is deep history there. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some deep heads of the channel may know I love Seth Rollins. I enjoy what he does. almost any time he does it. I'm not someone who got to see a lot of his career live, but I've gone back and watched a lot of it. And even the character work that he gets negative reaction for in history, I've seemed to enjoy. A lot of that though being in hindsight. So I really enjoy Seth Rollins, and I would really like to not see him be a stepping stone for CM Punk's return tour a year late.
Yes, I will
But
agree with you on that. It's just I think what we want
yeah,
is not what the people want,
yeah.
unfortunately.
All right. So yeah, we're both going to say CM Punk there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That does it for everything announced. Now, we also know that Cody Rhodes will be there.
Whoa.
We don't know if that's going to be one of his more recent Raw dark match appearances after the show goes out, where he'll fight Carmelo Hayes or something. Or does he make an appearance on the show? Does a certain movie star that we were alluding to
I think
appear?
I think in some shape or fashion the movie star shows up because
He's got a relationship with Netflix.
he's got a relationship with Netflix. It's the start of a new year. He has a relationship with the company in an ownership capacity.
A lot of new eyeballs on the
putting
show.
his face on things. So
His new movie bombed.
because of course it did. Because of course it did. And like usual, he's just gonna turn it into another like big paycheck for some other movie that's gonna bomb anyway. It's just who he is. He also is a draw. And oh man, he was on here. And the good thing about Netflix is even if you don't announce it and people didn't tune in live, it's just up there. So they hear about it and will turn, oh, he showed up. Boom, 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 boom. Woo! So I can definitely see movie star showing up in some capacity. If he doesn't start the show to be like, it's a new year, blah, 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 because, you know, it's him, then he shows up in the tribal combat shit like we were talking about. But he shows up.
I love that. I love that of just like, welcome to Monday Night Raw, and then you have the big crane shot of the stadium as they're like, yeah, and then all the if you smell, yeah, just do it right away. Just fucking pull that plug right away. Be like, yeah, we're hot and we're off.
Yeah, because that gets people tuning in immediately. Oh,
I mean, yeah.
excellent.
Say what you want. Say what you want about. Yeah, it's just like CM Punk, like you were saying. The man's a draw. Say what you want, but when that "if you smell" hits,
I pop every time.
there is no room louder in wrestling today. Not Cody Rhodes, not CM Punk, not Seth Rollins, not Roman Reigns, not Swerve Strickland, not Hangman Adam Page, not Will Ospreay. There is no, like, barring a glass shatter, there is no room louder than when The Rock steps out. So yeah, I gotta assume he's showing up.
Agreed.
Alrighty, sir. Well, I think that covers us on our 3 topics here. We had a little bit of a chunky one today.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on You Don't Watch Sports. If you want to find us on anything else, we talk about wrestling and fake drafts of different random things over on Mock Draft, which you can find randomly on Mondays. Then we have This Guy Hasn't Seen. That happens every single Tuesday right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network, where we share media back and forth. One guy has seen, the other one hasn't. This guy hasn't seen. Whatever we want pops up on Wednesdays whenever they want. And then we got lots of irons in the fire for everything else. Sports
Yes,
right
sir.
here every Saturday at 11 o'clock. Omari, where else can they find you on the internets?
Well, yes, you can also find me on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming Day 240. You know what that means. Yes, sir. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Adiosness.